Welcome to Your Vote, the St. Joseph News Press Now's coverage of the upcoming municipal elections. We are continuing our Q&A series, and with us is Gary Wilkinson, a candidate for mayor. We're going to be talking about community appearance. Gary, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
We'll jump right in. Again, covering community appearance. Do you believe there's certain neighborhoods in town that have been neglected, and how would you change that?
I'm not sure there are certain neighborhoods in town that have been neglected. There's always certain areas of town that can use some attention. And as a matter of fact, I would say all areas of town need attention. So we have older segments of our community that have been around for a while. So naturally, they're going to need a little more attention. So that's probably how I would see it.
How would you go about bringing attention to those areas?
Well, we need to have our, first I think we need to have a strategy of getting people involved in keeping up their own properties, and that's citywide. I think we need to make that as a community priority, and I think you do that from leadership. Leadership makes that a priority. I think the citizens will make that a priority. And let's do it in a positive way. Let's show some of the benefits that can come from having a clean community. A community is seen as a reflection of how that community views itself. So if we can get people involved in the upkeep of the community, having a cleaner community, the community is going to look at itself in a better light. And when people come in, they're going to look at the community in a better light.
Do you believe this attention and revitalization can be accomplished in multiple areas throughout town at the same time?
Yes, I do.
And what would your kind of strategy be to get that done?
Well, you have a plan of action, and in that plan of action, you designate which areas you're going to try to bring up to whatever the standards are. And first you got to establish those standards, and they're going to be citywide standards. And once you do that, you go into your plan of action and you say, we're going to take care of this section and set a time frame, and then you just move on to the next section.
Is there a specific area in mind that when it comes to blight and rundown properties, is there a specific area in mind that you would like to address?
Not a specific area, a specific subject, and that is blighted buildings. I think that's one thing that we need to focus on. We have a lot of buildings that are vacant, and we've had a recent rash of fires, some called arsons, that have come about. And I think we need to focus on making sure that the landlords, people that are property owners, are meeting their requirements and securing those buildings.
How would you engage, because this aspect is, while important for the public and the city, also incorporates a large part of the private industry as well. Mm-hmm. So how would you engage both public and private resources to come together on this issue?
Well, I think it's important that they do come together, because the appearance of a community has an effect on when we're trying to recruit businesses and industries into our community. So I think they both have a stake in this, and we get them together by bringing them into the meeting and at a common table and talking about it and getting people involved in getting this thing done.
Do you think the city can be more diligent in enforcing residential housing codes when it comes to safety and appearance?
I would think so. I don't think that's a reach. Some of it have to do with our ability to keep staffing. That's citywide staffing. When we talk about the police, we talk about other departments within the city. That's something that affects us citywide. So if we can get the staffing up to where it should be, we have the training. Training is very important in that area. And then, as I said before, we make it a city priority and a positive priority by getting people involved in keeping the neighborhoods clean. There are some groups that are already doing this. We need to make sure we keep those groups involved, and also to get other people involved and also.
In the same vein, does the city need to be more aggressive when it comes to property maintenance violations?
If we have a code, that code should be enforced. What good is it in having a code? So we need to look at our codes and make sure those codes are up to date and they're going to address the problem. And if so, we need to enforce those codes.
Yeah. A large aspect of this current city council has been keeping sewer rates stagnant. They've done so for the past couple of years now. Do you believe that sewer rates need to remain stagnant? And if so, how would you go about doing that?
Well, sewer rates are a process of receiving those federal mandates that came out down in the 90s. And we were required to meet certain standards. So we have been about that business. But if there are less impactive ways, when I talk about impactive from an economic standpoint, and sewer bills, try to keep them low, I would be in favor of trying to do as much as I could. I'm also in favor of maintaining the environment. So we have to reach a happy medium there somehow.
Similar question, landfill rates. The city's landfill is one of the cheapest in the area when it comes to dumping fees. What do you think should be done with the landfill rates? The city is thinking about raising them. Do you agree with that?
Well, the city is required to do a landfill study to see what our needs are in that area, and those rates should be set so that after that study is done, we are able to meet those needs. I don't know that the reason for ours being lower than other areas, maybe we have a more efficient landfill operation, I'm not sure. That's something I would want to look at. If we can keep the rates low and also maintain a clean city, then there's no problem.
We're talking a lot about blight and neglect, but one thing that's hard to not notice is the growth in downtown. It has been revitalized in the past 4 or 5 years with this current city council. How would you continue that growth in downtown if you were elected?
Yeah, downtown is an interesting deal. When urban renewal came in and they supposed to address blight and blighted areas, just like we're talking about now. But their approach was to go in and take out a lot of the areas within the city. Some were historic, some were neighborhoods, and to remove the buildings from those areas without a viable plan for replacement. So I think we've been suffering the effects of that for the last few decades. Now we have people who are interested in investing in the downtown area, and whatever we can do to increase that and to help out, I think is very important. Downtown development, the downtown is looked at like a heart of a city. In recent years, we've had a number of governmental entities move out of the downtown, and that's not good. The Social Security Administration, we've had a hospital, we've had some of the DMV, they moved out of downtown. We need to make sure that our downtown is keeping those entities and also make it friendly to development. We have a lot of residential development that's going on right now, and that's a good thing. So I think downtown is on the move, and we need to get all the people that are involved in that together, see what they need to keep going, and what the city can do to promote that.
Just kind of my last question here. What's one concrete step you would take to make St. Joseph a better place to live?
One concrete step I would take, and I like that word concrete, because I would like to see St. Joseph, the city of St. Joseph, take over installation and maintenance of our sidewalks here in St. Joseph. And you might say, well, that's not done. It is done in a lot of municipalities. That's how it's done. The city maintains and constructs all sidewalks. And we can do that by using the CIP funds that are now used for the asphalt overlays. We're completing a lot of those streets. So there's going to be some opportunities to use those funds for other things. We can use that for installation of sidewalks citywide. We have school children that are walking to school in the streets, and that's unacceptable. So we can have sidewalks that are something that we'll be proud to look at, and it'll keep the appearance of the city, the upkeep of the city, the appearance. It'll improve that. Another place we can get those funds from is a use tax. So there's some places we can get those funds from, and it's a program that can be done.
Awesome. That's all the questions I have. Is there anything else you wanted to add or say?
I think we covered just about all of it.